Not willing to be overshadowed by its General Motors siblings, Buick brought along a couple of cars that debuted in Detroit back in January to show us a vision of the future. First up is the elegant Avenir concept car. While truly just a styling exercise, a lot of what you see here could make its way into production, including the car itself. General Motors has a large rear-wheel drive platform that it's using over at Cadillac for the new CT6. In order to amortize the cost for creating that platform, it would make perfect sense for Buick to get its own flagship as well. Especially when you think about how popular Buick is in China, where large cars with big back seats are all the rage. Buick chose the word Avenir because it translates to future in French, so we'll have to wait and see what happens here. In the meantime, the concept is full of new and old design cues that come together beautifully. Up front is a new interpretation of Buick's waterfall grille, complete with a throwback to the colored version of the Tri-Shield emblem. That, combined with generous amounts of chrome and large LED headlamps, creates an imposing presence. Along the sides, the typical Buick porthole vents have been ignored in favor of an elongated chrome accent. This is also where you can really see the size of the car. At more than 204 inches, it's 9 inches longer than a Cadillac CTS. An interesting mix of concave surfaces, chrome, and signature Buick lines complement the classic long hood, short rear deck proportions. In fact, despite the size of the car, Buick's designers have said the look they were going for was a four-door coupe. At the back, there is a large boat tail motif that we've seen on other Buicks, although this one is said to be a nod to the third-generation Riviera of the early 70s. Overall, from the outside, the car is unmistakably 100% Buick. As this is only a concept car, Buick hasn't said too much about the powertrain, except that there's a V6 with direct injection, stop-start technology, and cylinder deactivation. The Avenir's design shouts rear-wheel drive, but in fact the engine powers all four wheels through a 9-speed automatic transmission with paddle shifters. Inside the elegant and understated interior are 4 seats separated by a center console that runs from front to back. It doesn't look like it would take too much to make this interior design production ready. A lot of existing technology is in use here, including a 12-inch touchscreen, ionic cabin air filtration, wireless charging for mobile devices, and OnStar 4G LTE with a Wi-Fi hotspot. The rear seats look very inviting with an interesting stitching pattern, and I really like the way the screens are cleanly integrated into the backs of the front seats. Let us know in the comments what you think of the Avenir and if you think Buick should build it. Moving on to a Buick that will definitely see production, the new Cascada convertible was on a turntable as well. The 2016 Cascada is an entirely new model for Buick. In fact, it's their first convertible in 25 years. The last time they had a convertible on sale was the 1991 Buick Reatta 2-seater, a cult classic. While the Cascada may not be as interesting as that car, it's stylish enough and it may look familiar to some of you. This is basically the same car as the German-made Opel Cascada sold overseas, or if you live in the UK you'll know it as the Vauxhall Cascada, or the Holden Cascada in Australia. Styling for the US market Buick hasn't been changed at all. The same is true on the interior, where the assortment of buttons on the center stack are carried over. Buick owners in the US might recognize the dashboard as it's all but identical to that of a 2011 to 2013 Regal sedan, itself a rebadged Opel. Buick is promising enough interior room for 4 adults to sit comfortably. Soft touch materials, heated seats and steering wheel, and electrically retractable seatbelts for front passengers should also help. Cargo carrying ability is also decent, with 13.4 cubic feet available with the top up, or an acceptable 9.8 when the top is down. We'll have to see how many globes fit in the trunk when we get a Cascada to review. Under the hood, the sole engine option is a 1.6-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder producing 200 horsepower and 206 pound-feet of torque. It should be adequate for this car, and there's an overboost feature that will temporarily supply up to 221 pound-feet of torque. The standard transmission will be a 6-speed automatic. Up front is GM's Hyperstrut suspension, which helps eliminate torque steer and improves ride comfort, although the 20-inch wheels probably won't help. Buick is saying that the body structure is rigid, with high-strength steel reinforcements placed strategically throughout, in places like the A-pillars and door sills. That should help handling and reduce cowl shake. There are also row hoops behind the rear seats that automatically deploy if an impending rollover is detected. One standout feature is the convertible top, specifically how quickly it operates. In only 17 seconds you can either raise or lower it at the touch of a button, and you can do this at up to 31 miles per hour, so it's perfect for those rainstorms that show up without warning. Some cars costing tens of thousands of dollars more take nearly twice as long. It also looks good either top up or top down and includes a power-operated tonneau cover. Perhaps the only downside is that it's a cloth top only at a time when even inexpensive convertibles come with hardtops. Speaking of price, it hasn't been announced yet, but when the Cascada goes on sale in early 2016, it will compete against other premium front-wheel drive convertibles, such as the upcoming Audi A3 and departing Volkswagen EOS. So I would expect the base price to be in the low $30,000 range. Stay tuned for a test drive video closer to the Cascada's on sale date.